everyone for joining in. Thanks again. So I have Taskeen with me. Taskeen is a storyteller and she's a podcaster. So podcasting is such a controversial subject. Lots of people are not really into podcasting, but it is
Right.
something that connects with many individuals. And before I talk too much, I would really like Taskeen to tell us. So who is Taskeen?
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, my name is Mufassira Fatima. I go by that official name everywhere I go, but I am a writer and I use Taskeen as my pen name. It is also a name that I was called since it's like a pet name since childhood. And when I naturally, when I became a writer, I organically wanted to use the name Taskeen. So that's why I'm Taskeen everywhere on social media. I am a content strategist, a content writer, brand consultant, and now a podcaster. So I just started during the quarantine. It was something that I had planned during last year, but because of certain events, it couldn't, culminate. But now I am podcasting, I am blogging, I'm working on content creation, and currently waiting for the flights to reopen so I can come back to
So
Qatar.
that we can come back here. Right. Taskin, tell us, so what's the difference between Mufassira and Taskin? Is it the same
Um,
person, or because usually writers they have a pen name, and I remember speaking to some other writers during coaching, and they used to say, when they use their pen name, they're in a completely different world. Is it the same with
they are.
you?
It is to an extent, it is. When I was growing up, when someone would ask me what my name was, I instantly would, have that moment of hesitation. Do I tell them the difficult one or the one that's, the scheme? Because Mufassara in itself is a bit difficult for a lot of people to, get it right at the first time. So I used to say, well, my name is Mufassara, but you can call me Taskeen. But over the years, as I've grown up, as I have, progressed in my profession and as the individual that I am, I've realized that Mufassira is a brand consultant. She is a copywriter. She's a content writer. So she writes according to client briefs, according to what is required of her to write. But then Taskeen is a storyteller. She's full of life. She's all about details. She's about noticing the tiny things in life and appreciating the artwork. So that's how I like to see myself as Taskeen.
And what's amazing is like I saw the difference in your facial expression when you were talking about Mufassira and when you were talking about Taski, and how the facial expressions change. So it really connects with me, when you say that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Taskin,
Yeah.
and thank you, guys. Please, if you have any questions, please do leave, and I'll be like taking quick pauses. Someone said Taskin means patience. Is that what it means?
Taskin is an Urdu word, so I think it has a very beautiful meaning because of which I connect to it. It means how do you say this in English? The translation gets lost when you're trying to say it in English, but it means relief.
Wow. Okay. Nice. Right.
Yeah.
Taskin, tell me, because see, the series hopes to empower and inspire women who want to take a different journey in their lives. So, from
Correct.
analyst to a storyteller, tell us why it was. Yes, you have spoken to me about why you did it, but why was it so important to you to make this change?
Because I have always enjoyed, I was a reader and a writer since childhood. I was constantly, applauded for thinking on my feet and being quick in talking or, writing. And naturally, when I was getting into further education and studies, I decided I wanted to do something completely different, which was not, engineering or, like a doctor or something. Not because I don't respect those professions. I have a very high regard for all of them, but I thought I want to do something different. So I ended up becoming an analyst and something in the finance and business analyst field. And as I progressed, 8 months into the job, I mean, I think even 8 weeks into the job, I realized, no, this is not for me. I don't like it. So I was good at my job, but I was not happy. And it constantly gave me this feeling of, that I'm not fulfilled, that maybe what I'm doing is not right. I'm not being true to myself. it just made me miserable. And I think that's the point where I realized that, my mental health was also deteriorating by the day, which is not a good feeling. You have always grown up thinking that you're an extremely strong person, and you are able to deal with everything that life throws at you. But then comes this reality check, which tells you that, not everything is great. You need to, rethink your priorities. So then I quit my job, and even then I had no idea that, I could work my living as a content writer. I began looking for different jobs. I took a gap of maybe 3 to 4 months. And then one fine day, someone read, I used to run a blog, and I still do, but I don't write as much on it. So somebody read my blog and they called me and they said, listen, we've read your blog and we think your writing style is really nice. So would you like to join our company? And I said, they pay writers, because I had this mindset, that writers are those, like they show in the movies, they're jobless, they don't have a particular vocation, they are constantly waiting for inspiration. So I thought maybe that's how it is. But then I got into the industry, I got to know about content writing, about the various kinds of technicalities of content writing. And from there, I've progressed, I've grown better, I've tried to grow a niche. I've built my audience, I've built my network and connections. So yeah, even today, I might not be working full time, but I am, a freelance writer. I work with brands, I work with companies for their content creation and a lot of other things on their website. And because it's quarantine, I wanted to do something more for myself, because it's an occupational hazard. As a writer, you tend to write more for others. And I kind of wanted to do something for myself. So I thought, okay, let's become a podcaster. And that's how here I am. So
So
this entire
podcasting was
journey.
something that you did for yourself.
Yes, yes, it is. It is important, because when you're in a creative field, of course, it is important to help others. Of course, it is, okay to monetize your passion and earn from it. But it is also important that you sometimes do it for yourself.
So true, so true. Because
Yeah.
self-fulfillment is so important, and especially for creative people, for everybody. But when you're creative, if you're not, then you cannot bring out your full potential. Taskin,
Yeah.
what interested me was, and thank you everyone for your lovely messages. We love you
I'm
too.
sorry, I didn't see any
Yes,
of the
we are not
comments.
reading it. I
I
will be
kind of
reading it
missed.
in a while. Thank you so much. We love you too. Taskin, like, see, a job market is really tough, and when you
Yes,
have like a very established job, and jumping from it to drive your passion is pretty scary for lots of people out there, right?
it is.
So tell
It
me
is.
about what are the challenges that you faced, and how did you overcome them?
As everyone might think that, perhaps when you found your passion, like suppose someone is interested in photography or maybe singing, or say even graphic designing or illustrating, or like me, a writer, they tend to think, okay, I've now made the switch to a new job that I love. It's going to be a cakewalk. It is not a cakewalk. Uh, Maybe there are a lot of things you don't know about. I joined my new job as a writer thinking, oh, I'm a great writer. I'm just gonna slay at this job. But that was not the case. I got a reality check. I had to understand that there are a lot of technicalities involved in writing. What you once think in college that, you're such a great writer, you're a great artist, it turns out you need to hone those skills. So I think in the aspect of improving yourself with the challenges that came, I have worked on my skill. Earlier, I would say I was an okay-ish writer when I thought I was great. But with the job, I have worked on myself. I have taken a couple of seminars and courses. I have learned what it is to write for an industry, how it is to write for a particular audience. I have learned the different, style guides that are necessary when you have to take into course what you're writing, because when you learn a lot of things on the job. So I think in that
Definitely.
aspect, I have overcome these challenges by working on myself and also reading more. I would say when you want to do great work, it is also important for you to look up to great work. So I have constantly looked at different content creators. I've seen how different amazing writers how they write, what is their way of storytelling. Because only when you look at great content, then you get inspired, right?
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
So, what, according to you, Taskin, the biggest obstacles that you faced is your personal challenges, right?
Absolutely. I
Overcoming.
think that's the way to see it because your only competition is with who you were yesterday. And that's the
Definitely.
way to go about it. Because everyone has a different timeline. You might be a great writer, but maybe you've been working on it for maybe 15 years or 20 years. And it would be unfair for me to compare myself to the kind of writer that you are. So
Definitely.
in a way, if you see, am I a better writer since yesterday? Yes, I am. Then I think that's only going to make the journey better day by day.
Thank you, Taskin, and thanks for everyone new who has joined us. So I'm talking to Taskin now, and thanks for all the lovely messages. Taskin, tell us, how is storytelling different from content writing? Is it the same thing? We
In
hear
a lot
content
of ways,
writers,
I believe the
storytellers.
gap
Yeah, what's
joins.
different?
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways it overlaps. Like, how do I say it? It does overlap, but in the strictest speaking context, I would say content writing is bound by certain rules. It is bound by certain, grammatical rules as to what has to be done, what is supposed to be written. I'll not get into the technicalities of it, but I think content writing is something when you do it for a professional audience, when you do it for a business, for a brand, for an audience, for a consumer, it is bound by a lot of rules and it tends to have certain limitations as well. But as a storyteller, I would say there are no rules. It's your story. You can say it the way you want it to, the way you want it to be heard, and just the way you feel it. So I think it's not bound by as many rules as content writing. So in that way, it's pretty fluid.
So storytelling is something that you bring your inner spirit out, I believe,
Yes,
right?
yes, absolutely.
Okay, let's just take the messages. There is something from you, Rainbow Tiara. I began as a blogger, and during the period of being quarantined, I decided to be a freelance writer. I had a lot of troubles with finding clients, and the only advice I received is to pitch every day. What would you tell
Okay.
her? I need your advice for a beginner like me.
So if you're a beginner, try to associate yourself with different kinds of writing. In content writing, also there are certain niche. For example, would you want to do SEO writing, which is search engine optimization? Would you like to do website content? Are you open to doing blogs or different types of articles? You can do editorials. So there are certain styles in which these are written. Language is to be simple, and whatever you write has to always go through a plagiarism tool because everyone wants genuine, unique content, which is not copied from Wikipedia. So try to work on these points and reach out to people. I think companies right now during this COVID situation, everyone has lowered their budgets. So a lot of them are outsourcing their work, which is a way you can reach out to companies for work, email them, politely that I am a freelance writer, and don't think that I've not done any work. This is my first assignment. If you are a writer, you might have worked on a lot of things. Maybe you helped someone with a school speech, maybe you helped someone with a script, maybe you helped someone with their assignment. So put everything, all of it on your portfolio and pitch it to companies, and I'm sure you will find someone who will be ready to take you on as a freelance writer. And yes, freelance can get very how do I say this? They don't pay a lot in the beginning, so be open to taking more projects. See it as a learning curve because eventually, when you start learning and you have added sufficient writing assignments to your portfolio, at a later stage you can command more money. But right now, keep it as a learning curve and try to pitch to companies.
So thanks, Taswin. Taskin, that was really, valuable advice. So, like, can they like put together like a portfolio and start like
Yes.
emailing companies with their portfolio? Would that be better for writers?
Yes, they can take up writing assignments. Most of the companies, when you pitch to them, they ask you to send writing samples. So suppose if it's
Mm.
an IT company, then try pitch articles which you have written about software or maybe the latest developments in the IT industry. If it is a brand that you are approaching, try to look at what the brand is doing. See if they have some existing content on their website or on their social media which you feel could have been better. Pitch it to them in that way. So brands are always open to fresh ideas. And when you tell someone that, listen, you did this, but I think I could do it better, everyone is always ready to listen. So try doing that. It could help you.
Thanks a lot, Taskin. That was very helpful. So I want to change the subject a bit here from storytelling and content writing. I want to talk about conscious influencing, right? And I see that you do that a lot. Apart from your content writing, you also advocate on mental health. So how important do you think? Because as influencers, we have a responsibility, right?
Right.
Because people watch out for us and they watch what we are doing, what we wear. So what do you think of
Correct.
conscious influencing? Do you think it's important?
I think it is extremely important. First of all, I kind of get a bit uncomfortable when someone uses the word influencing. I wouldn't call, but then, if you think of it in the realistic sense, we are all influencers, whether we are on social media or not. So
Definitely.
you might not be on social media, your aunts, your moms, for that matter, they are the biggest influences in our life, but we wouldn't call them influences. They inherently tend to pass on certain traits, certain characteristics, certain habits, and that's how I think we all are influencers in our own right. But when you're on a social media platform and you have a certain audience, I think it's really important to curate what kind of content that you're putting on. I'm not saying stop being honest, try to filter everything and put it out there. But what I'm trying to say is try to be more conscious of what you're putting forward. If you have an opinion or an idea, put out this disclaimer that, this is my opinion or idea. Be open to receiving opposition because a lot of times a lot of
Criticism.
people will not agree with
Yes,
you. Yeah, they will
true.
not agree with you. And if you're putting out facts there, please do your homework, do your research. The internet is a mean, nasty place. I have a lot of great people watching for me, but I do know for certain people it can get ugly. It can get nasty when you don't do your homework and just randomly spew facts. So it is extremely important to do conscious influencing. And when you have a certain amount of reach, say like 5,000, 10,000 followers with enough engagement, I think you can use that reach to perhaps influence people in the right way to think about issues that need focus. I know a lot of people like looking at fashion bloggers and, every day who's doing what kind of makeup and all that. Even I do that. But then at the end of the day, I would look up to a content creator a lot if she also spoke about, say, what are the issues going on in the world, if she was kind to her followers, if she always had good things to say or, valuable pieces of advice. So I think it's really important that we use that reach in a way which is conducive to the environment because you don't know what kind of audience you have. Sometimes you might have youngsters, you might have teens, you might have really old people who are trying to, see what's going on in the world. So it's really important to be conscious as a blogger, as a social media presence.
Absolutely, absolutely. There was something that I would like to read out to you. Hold on. Yes, genuine and positive influencers are underrated. Definitely. I believe that. Be responsible about your actions. Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And this is why I try to advocate a lot of conscious influencing. And like you said, I love makeup blogs. I love to,
Yeah,
do
me
it
too.
myself. I mean, we are all girls at the end of the day, and even guys. But then when we have a responsibility, I believe, end of the day, to at least make an impact. And I want to go back to what the skin said about the materials that you put up, because it is so important, guys, sometimes to do your research. Because
It
when
is.
you put out wrong content, you're not just harming yourself, but you're harming someone who's perceiving it as well.
Yeah,
So
true.
thanks a lot, Taskin. And the next question is about mental health itself. Okay. Why do you create so much awareness about it? We all know it's important, but according to you, why do you create all that buzz around it?
Um, Honestly, when I first was not going through a good phase, when I was unhappy with my job, and I was kind of in, I have those spiraling thoughts. I am an overthinker. Come on, let's deal with it. I am a writer, so I tend to overthink a lot. I tend to mull over my feelings for quite a while. So when I had all those feelings, uh, it confused me. I did not know that, someone as confident as I, someone who's always been happy, always had everything that she wanted, could also face certain issues like this. So it kind of put me back on ground, and it gave me this idea that, we do not talk about mental health as much as we should. Imagine for someone like me who's been confident and who is dealing with certain issues, it must be really scary for someone who's, pretty shy and quiet. And why? Because we do not want to talk about mental health, because we are uncomfortable telling that maybe someone is depressed, maybe someone is going through anxiety issues. People are uncomfortable when you talk about this, a lot of them. That's why I try, like you said, conscious, not influencing, but conscious blogging. I try that I reach out to people. Maybe they're not doing well. Maybe they're going through a horrible day. And social media is a very, how do you say this? It's a very doctored place, I would say, where everyone is trying to doctor their emotions into being, we are doing great. Our life is great. Look at this new makeup. Look at this new shoes. But I know everyone deals with all of these emotions. So by talking about it, I do not know whether I have enough reach, but I do know that by opening more conversations, maybe someone will have another conversation with their family members. Maybe they might listen to my podcast or see a post that I wrote and think, yes, we need to talk about this more. So, in that way, I feel mental health is extremely necessary to be spoken about. Was there a
Yeah, it is, and what you said about people who are there's a wrong misconception that only people who are happy are not going through any issues. Taskeen, are you here or are we? I think her net just dropped. Taskeen, can you hear me? Sorry, guys, I think her net just dropped. An anxious person as weak. Yes, definitely, because that's a misconception, and that's one biggest taboo that we have. Hi, Adley. So I have my counselor friend as well. She would actually agree with me. It's a big taboo because mental health, yeah, people are talking about it now, and there is awareness that's been created around it. Until Taskin joins, I'm going to just talk about this a little. But I guess, like, when we say, like, we have to go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, or even if you're saying a shrink, people are not that happy about it, and they don't want to talk about it. They're worried that if they say they're seeking for help, that they might be considered as, not a stable person. So this is one of the biggest misconceptions. If you have a headache, you would want to go to the doctor and take Panadol. If you have a back pain, you would go to the doctor. So why is it that when we are not okay, and we really need to speak to somebody, that we are not okay about talking about it? Why is that it's always a hidden fact? Why is it is always a taboo? So this is something that we need to create awareness within ourselves, that it is okay to reach out to help. Yes, she is doing a great job. So it's okay to reach out to help. She's back again, guys. Hi, Pascal.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
Let
I guess we lost you. Yeah, so actually, they were asking about, why is it such a big taboo talking about mental health? And Adley here, she says, if you want to shatter the stigma, then start at home and within your close contacts.
Absolutely. Right.
Definitely. because there is a big taboo. That's what I was talking to them about, because there's a big taboo. Like if you go to a doctor, even if you have a heart attack or, God forbid something, they speak about it. Even COVID, yes, I got COVID and everyone's okay about it. But when it's about mental health, nobody wants to talk about it. They're scared even
Yeah.
to say, I went to see a counselor. I went to see that. It's like a huge taboo that still hovers
It is.
about.
It is. It is a huge taboo because there's so much stigma associated with it, and like I also discussed in my podcast, that there's so much stigma because you don't want to be ridiculed, you don't want to be laughed at by the society that, oh my God, she's mad, she's going to a therapist. So I think we need to normalize conversations about mental health. We need to be more comfortable talking about what's bothering us, because only when we learn to be more, and also people make fun of you when you're trying to be vulnerable. She's so sensitive. She's such a drama queen. So I think
Definitely.
it's highly important that along, even if you're not a conscious social media presence, you become a conscious person. The way you're talking with someone, the way you deal with other people's grief, your sorrow, your loss. So in this way, by normalizing conversations about mental health, I intend to educate the few people around me. I don't know if I have a wider reach, I my voice will reach a lot of people, but if my friends and family listen to it and it makes them think, then penny for their thoughts. So,
Definitely,
yeah,
because Skin, it's not about the millions of people that you reach, but the few people that you can make an impact through what you say.
correct,
So I
correct,
believe you're
absolutely.
doing that. And there's another comment here. People do reach out for help, but then again, they hide the actual reason for being depressed.
Yeah, true.
So why do you think they hide it? And I have come across during my counseling sessions, it is that people don't want to accept. Again, it comes to, I think, the stigma and the taboo that is attached, right, to it.
Correct. There is a lot of stigma attached to it, as well as, um, people always have a filter on, which is what I think is pretty dominant right now. Everyone appears to be this really nice woke millennial thing on Instagram that, I care about mental health, I care about racism, I talk about this, I talk about that, I'm also a conscious influencer. But then when it comes to a very molecular level, people are not bothered. People are like, it's not my problem. I don't want to talk about it. So that is the reason why everyone is so guarded. Everyone has their walls high up. I don't want to talk about what's bothering me. People are going to make fun of me. They might say to my, directly to me that they do understand, but maybe deep down they don't. So I think that is why people are very scared.
Definitely, and I think most people judge as well. And if you see in our Asian countries, even some of the counselors that we go to, they tend to
Correct.
quickly be biased about certain things. And
Yeah.
like I will share my personal experience with you
Yes,
about
absolutely. Please do.
3 years back, 6 years back. Okay, 6 years ago, I went to see a counselor myself because one of my fellow counselors, because I was going through a period in my life which I thought I needed help with. And one of the first questions he asked me was, so why don't you just, it was something to do with my, a boss at that time. And he said, but he's a man and he would shout at you. So why don't you just listen to him? So I was like, I just, pause. That's not an appropriate thing even for a counselor to say. But see how much biased our community is. So it's very
Right.
difficult, that's why I guess people are so scared sometimes.
Yeah, because even there's a lot of stigma regarding therapy. Not every therapist is out there to help you. There are a lot of well-meaning, therapists, psychotherapists, and psychiatrists who are actually willing to make a difference. But then most of them are just like, here, I know what your problem is. Take this bandage, put it on your wound,
Do
take this
it. And
medication,
the
and
easy
go
thing
away.
is depression pills, right? Just take the
Yeah,
depression pills and pop it in and you'll be fine without
yeah.
knowing, how much damage it can cause to a person.
It is I think it's very important to also research what kind of mental health disorder you're dealing with, Like you must have seen the live sessions that I do. I try to talk about different things, whether it's about postpartum depression, whether someone is going through an eating disorder, because binge eating, I did not know that binge eating is, a manifestation of a mental disorder. I try to talk about separation anxiety, a lot of different things, because you can't give someone a one size fits all solution. Mental health is so diverse. The spectrum of problems someone deals with is probably very wide. Uh, you know, that's probably the reason why, initiating more conversations, making more resources available on the internet for you to access. Suppose you don't want to talk to someone, it should be easy for you to go online and, look for helplines, or maybe resources where you can access free therapy or free counseling, or maybe learn more about what you're going through.
Definitely, definitely. Let me just read through the comments. It's okay not to be okay. Just don't give up. Thank you. I love how she talks and explains in a clean way. It's so relatable. Thank you. Thank you. I make up culture. That's for you, Taskin. We don't have to struggle in silence. Definitely. Well said. Okay. Yeah. So yes, we don't have to struggle in silence. And one more thing, please don't diagnose yourselves, because that is
Yeah.
so important that, don't self-diagnose. And, I've heard people come up saying that they have depression. I think I have depression. I think I'm going through, trauma. Maybe it's okay to feel that way, but please don't diagnose yourself.
Yeah.
So going back to another important topic, podcasting. Okay, so if you still have questions about mental health, guys, please do pin in.
There's this
I'll be taking
question. Can I
questions
take
later.
this?
Yes, please. Yeah.
How could we know someone is suffering from depression, and as a person, how can we help them? I have a podcast on that, but then I'll summarize it on what are the do's and don'ts of mental health. If you feel someone is going through a trauma in their life, or maybe they have PTSD, or say they are dealing with something, try to record for symptoms which are, long lasting over a long period of time. Sometimes it's okay to be upset for maybe a day or two, maybe a week, maybe 10 days at most. But if someone is having this patterns of irregular behavior, or intense grief, intense feelings for a prolonged period of time, then suggest them that, maybe it's time to look at a therapist. And if you want to help them, offer to go with them to therapy. Try to see look out for different options for them. See if there are good therapists that can help them. I think in a way a lot of people only want to be heard. So when I was going through something like this similar in my job, I just realized I wanted someone to listen to me without judgment. So if you can listen and be one of those friends who's a good, a shoulder to lean on, I think that's half the battle won.
I relate to it so much, Taskin. And most of us are not great listeners. And even listeners, I think you would agree with me, we don't do active listening, and that
We
is so
do.
important. We usually like, listen to talk back. And if you guys, all everyone who's with us, like, I want you guys to reflect back. And go back to a time when you were having a conversation with someone and they were talking to you and your mind was not computing the answer already. Has that happened? Usually our mind is computing for answers, then we are
Yes,
not actively listening, right? So
it
what do
tends
you
to
have to say
happen.
about that?
I think it's a human tendency that everyone wants to be heard, everyone wants to talk out. So naturally, in a conversation, when someone is asking you a question, you're already thinking, "Oh, I'm going to say these points, and this is what I'm going to say," and you just wait for the end of the sentence that the person has started, so you can, immediately like pile on yours. So I think
And
it's
that is
natural
also the
to.
problem, I think, right? That I think
Yes.
all of us have to change.
Right,
That
right.
is another one. Yeah.
Absolutely.
From where I am, it's just to let you know it's a positive as kids as young as 11, 12 are seeking and speaking out. It's nice to know they're ready to accept and shift thinking patterns. Yes, it is. I'm happy to know that, it's Lots of even youngsters are now seeking out for mental health, and awareness is being created. But like Taskeen was saying, it's not just the awareness, but breaking down the nitty gritties of it.
Right.
Yes. Okay, we have some more comments, Taskeen, for you, so I'm just going to read it out, right? Before we go in.
Okay.
Therapy should be non-judgmental, unbiased, without criticism, and open-minded and accepting. Yes. Very good question. Okay. We check with Google
Absolutely.
Doctor. Okay. How to focus on your work and try to be better when you're having issues with your mental health. Do you have any tips for that?
I think it's important to take a break because it so happens that sometimes while working, when you have a lot on your mind, you don't do as great work as you wish you could. So it's really important to, stop, take a pause, and analyze what you're doing. Analyze if you really need a break, whether you need, some time off, because a lot of times when you just sleep over it, it gets better. But in certain cases, suppose you're doing, office work and you can't take a break, then try to try to take a different approach to what you're doing. Um, try to sit at a different place. I've tried this. I was really upset one day at work, and I just a simple change of my work station from near the window to the back of the office. It kind of just changed my mood. So different things work for different people. Try listening to some instrumental music or some motivational music towards the back of your head. Get up, go for a walk. Sometimes just going out in the fresh air can, refresh your mind. It can, cleanse your senses, and you are back at it with much better focus than you had before.
Thank you, Taskeen. So we have about 15 to 20 minutes. So I want to talk about. We'll come back to the mental health questions
Sure,
later
sure, we
once we
could.
finish. Yeah. So about podcasting. So podcasting is still a very undiscovered area, especially in this region, right?
It is.
So
It is.
what do you think is the benefits? Why podcasting?
It's still a very nascent industry in the way
Mm,
that people are still not more tuned to audio content. Like, it took us several years, and we have finally come onto a very visual medium, which is Instagram, which is YouTube, which is Facebook. I'll say Instagram and YouTube hands down win over everything. And there was also TikTok, but it's now banned in a lot of countries. So we are a generation of extremely visual content. Of course we listen. Of course we like to listen when someone is talking something relatable, but then we also want some accompanying visuals along with it to, supplement our imagination. But I would say podcasting is it has a very promising future because number one, you don't have to get ready, you don't have to do all this makeup. You can sit on your bed and make content.
absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So for me, that wins hands down. I don't like getting ready, okay? So
Mm.
that wins. I can sit in my pajamas and make content. It's going to be great. People are going to listen only to my voice, and that's what matters. But jokes apart, I think a lot of people, especially consumer content consumers, or the audience that I'm talking about, young mothers, say people working professionals, they do not have the time to dedicate to a visual medium. Sometimes they're too busy with their lifestyle. So maybe a podcast is something they can hear while they are probably driving or doing their work done, and at the end of the day they can focus specifically on what you're trying to say. They are not distracted by what they see. So if you have a podcast of say 20 to 25 minutes, it's okay. People might not listen to the whole of 20-25 minutes, but if they pay attention for those 2 minutes, and if there's a point that's relevant to them, that'll greatly help them. And once you have found a loyal audience, I think it gets easier from there. It's always a learning curve with podcasting. You will not sound great in your first podcast, but then it will get better with time.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you. Hi, Roshan. Hi, Rukia. Thanks for joining, guys.
Hi.
We are talking to Taskin about mental health, about podcasting, storytelling, and thank you for everyone who's joined in now. So Taskin, again going back to podcasting, uh,
Right.
based on your life experience, like what type of podcasting do you think is important today? Based on your own experiences, what are the apart from mental health? What are the other things would you recommend?
Apart from mental health, I think it's really important to discuss societal change,
Mm,
whether you're trying to change people's mindsets about certain things,
mm,
whether you're trying to open conversations about more things. It can be mental health, it can be more than that, it can be about racism, it can be about social issues that you really believe in. So I think that kind of podcasting, it serves a purpose because maybe one podcast will not make a difference, but if there's several people trying to talk about the same thing at once, I think it amplifies your voice and it also reaches out to more people. So in that way, responsible podcasting, which talks about social issues. Another thing is, I also feel self-help podcasts are also a great way to go. I mean, there are a lot of people in probably tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities, a lot of suburban areas who probably do not have access to the world-class quality content. And it would be really helpful if have a podcast which tells people how to go about their daily life, maybe how to prepare for a job interview, how they can achieve their dreams without probably spending too much. So, in a lot of ways, the world's your playground. You can make any kind of content, and if it's helping someone, great.
Oh, Taskin, I'm like really, really happy to have you because you're really giving valuable information, and I really
I'm so
hope
glad. Thank you.
the listeners can capitalize out of that. Can you, these questions I had like when I put on your, poster saying you're going to talk about podcast, some of them were actually asking me, can you give some tips for beginners? How would they go
It's
about starting their own podcast? Yeah.
I think people have it really easy now because I would equate podcast to not exactly, but almost like a radio channel of your own. You could look at it that way. So there is sufficient amount of work that goes into it. But that being said, it is also very easy. There are a lot of podcasting platforms that allow you to host your podcast for free. So trust me, if you look enough on the internet, everything is free. And
Yeah, and I guess even YouTube has a lot of videos on how to start
it is.
podcasting and all those.
It is. And once for beginners, I would say when you start podcasting, please don't open it with the intention that, I'm going to monetize this. I'm going to become so popular that I'm going to earn money through my podcast. Look at it as something that you want to do because you enjoy talking, because you love reaching out to people. If you look at it in this way, I think it's half the job done when you enjoy the thing that you're doing. I love talking, and my husband tells me you are non-stop. You can't stop talking. You repeat the same stories over and over again. So I thought, I should just find someone else to listen to my stories. So that's probably what
No, but
that's
but
probably
but you're
what
so
pushed me to
right,
create this.
Taskin, because I think one of the things it's okay to make money, and end of the day, all of us,
Yeah,
need
it
to
is
have a
okay.
monetary value to it. But like, if you're not, if your purpose is deviated, and you're doing it just
Right.
to make money, then the passion is lost, right?
It
Then you're
is.
not
It is.
giving out that intense content that you really feel. And I just want to go back to what you said about talking. Even for me, more than I feel like when I do it audio, it's much more intense because I'm not worried about who's looking at me, what are my facial expressions. So I
Yeah,
guess yes,
exactly.
definitely, definitely. Right, let's just take in a few questions. We have lots of happy faces and hearts. Thanks, guys, for all
Thank
those
you so
tiny
much.
hearts
I'm
and happy
not seeing
faces.
any of these because I might be distracted and I might go
Yes. So
digress from the topic,
podcast,
but thank you
let
so
me
much.
just read something to you, darling. Podcasts are best to listen while we involve in physical activities like workouts or household chores. I really wish I had listened to Taskin's podcast instead of Dr. Phil's during my quarantine. Yeah, please
That is
go
so
ahead and
sweet.
listen to her.
Please
So
go
where
ahead,
can we
listen to
find
my
your
podcast.
podcast, Taskin? Can you tell them where they can access your podcast to?
You can check out the link in my bio. You can go to my page and check out the link in my bio. It's on the host platform Hubhopper, but it is also available on Spotify. It is available on Alexa devices and also on Google Podcast and Pocket Casts. So if you just go and type the Taskeen Way podcast, hopefully it should turn up in the results.
Yes, please do listen to her. There's some interesting podcasts that she has shared. Listening to her podcast is a therapy. All right, that's for you, Taskeen. I've been thinking of podcasting, but I don't know where to start. So yeah, so Taskeen was giving some tips on how to start your own podcast. So if you still have some questions, is it okay if they DM you, Taskeen, and
Yes, yes,
check with you?
absolutely. I
Yeah.
love people DMing me all the time. I'm awake till 3 a.m. replying to DMs. Please hit me, slide into my DMs.
Thanks, Taskin. So, see, we are a group of women united, trying to empower women and trying to help you guys out to be the best version of yourself. So, Taskin, her link is in the post that I have put. It's there. Please go and check out her profile and please do DM her. And she would be answering any questions that, not any questions, but things that are related to her key areas. Podcast. All right. Okay. Um, Now, based on what you know about mental health, your careers, your personal choices, can you give some strategies for girls, for our upcoming angels on, what they can do in terms of their career or how they can achieve their goals in life? What would you say? Taskeen's, let's say Taskeen's to-do list or to-do goals, strategies. What would it be?
I I think it is pretty subjective to a lot of people because everyone belongs to a different background with different support systems, with different morals. Maybe people's families are not as supportive, but a lot of them have a lot of supportive families. So I think I'll give a blanket answer, which will probably help everyone. If you're trying to find your passion, maybe you do not know what yet is your passion, let it be. I mean, let it come organically to you. Don't try to force something on yourself. Just because your drawing, art teacher told you that you're a good, a painter, it doesn't mean you have to be a great painter. It doesn't mean you have to pursue something in that. Do something that you really enjoy, whether it is cooking. Back when I started, it was not as easy to pursue a passion. Now it is extremely easy. You could be a photographer. You can even open your own chef. I know a girl who's a 16-year-old baker and she bakes up a storm. So it's okay. You can find your passion and just work on it. Try to become better at what you're trying to do. Learn. See it as a learning curve. You will never be great in the beginning. Very few people are great in the very first stage of what they're doing in life. But try to become better each day. Put your competition only with yourself. It's okay sometimes to look at other people and be insecure. It's human tendency. I will not deny that. But always remember that your struggles, your ideas, your opinions, your aspirations, everything is unique only to you, and you should only try and make the best of what you have.
Thank you. That's very inspirational, Taskeen. Thank you so much. And okay, I want to do something fun. We've been having all these intense conversations. So let's go into the rapid fire for Taskeen. Okay, love of your life.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Love of your life. My first question to you. You have to answer me without thinking, okay?
Okay. Love of my life, my husband.
Okay, obviously. All right. A deserted island, and you can take 3 people with you. Who would it be?
I would say one, my husband, and two, I don't want people. I just want my books with me.
Okay, all right. A person that you wish you can write about, their autobiography. If you can choose anybody, their biography. If you can choose anybody, who would it be? Taskeen.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry,
All right.
I think I got a
No
call.
problem.
Sorry.
That's okay. got you
A
back.
person I could write an autobiography on. I would really have loved to write Michelle Obama's autobiography, but she's already done it. So I think she's an inspirational woman. She's someone I look up to, and I'm constantly in awe of what she keeps doing and what she keeps, emulating. So I would have loved to written her book.
Okay, all right. A topic that you passionately want to podcast about, but you're not doing it or you don't want to do it for reasons that you feel that you might be criticized.
I think I really, really want to talk about body positivity, about how people are, you know, shamed for the way they look, but for the way they are thin, they are fat, or constantly ridiculed. Because I feel I might be criticized, or maybe I couldn't do justice to it. So I'm still researching, but inshallah, hopefully one day I will talk about this topic.
Okay, so sleep all night or cruise in the midnight?
Sorry,
So would
sleep all
you
night
prefer to
or
sleep? Would you prefer to sleep undisturbed or would you prefer to get into the car and, cruise around town? What do you prefer?
I would prefer to sleep undisturbed. I value my sleep a lot. I mean, if I don't sleep, I become the Grinch, okay?
All right, okay. So this is a question that, this is the question Karan Johar asked, and I love this, and I've always wanted to ask my audience these questions. So three roses, kill, love, and coffee with.
Skill, love, and coffee with. Okay. Why
So
is
I
there
give
no
you three
marry?
roses. Marry, you already have. You're married, right? I didn't want
Then
to
I would
put you
say his
into
name
trouble.
again, no? Then I might get brownie points as the wife.
Okay, yeah, okay, no coffee with marry. Let's say kill, love, and marry. Who would it be? It's fine.
Okay. You said love, kill,
Yes. And marry. Let's make it a bit
love,
more
kill, marry.
adventurous. Yeah.
I love Shah Rukh Khan, okay. So
Okay. All right,
I'm
high five. I'm a
extremely
big
filthy.
Shah
I
Rukh
grew
Khan
up
fan as
watching him,
well.
so I just love Shah Rukh Khan. So I love Shah Rukh Khan. I will obviously marry my husband because I love him very much, and I think he's the best thing that happened to me. And kill, kill is too violent a word. I don't wish that on anybody. I would kill Teletubbies. Okay, I hate Teletubbies. I find them creepy.
Yes, yes. I think they were banned in a couple of countries as well
It
because,
is. I don't
yes,
know. I
yes, yes,
used to
yes.
get anxiety when Teletubbies came on TV as a kid. I used to be like, why are they so creepy? Why are they so? Oh,
They do sound creepy, yes. Thanks,
yeah.
Taskin. That is the end of your rapid fire. That was an interesting
Um,
conversation, and I want this few minutes that we have for you to share anything with the audience that you want.
if anyone has questions, I would love to answer them.
Any
Anyone?
other questions, guys? I do think we read out. If you guys have any questions, please do type in before we sign off. And Nahida, if you're still here, I remember you saying you have a platform where women can reach out to you and speak to you. Please do, once I upload the video, please do reply in the comments a link to your Facebook page or Instagram page so that they can reach out to you. Thank you.
Yes,
We love
please.
you too.
Aisha Khan, we both loved you. She's my cousin. She's always there to
Oh,
hype
okay.
me up.
Hi,
Thank you so much. I
Aisha.
love you.
Hello. Thank you for the love that you're sharing with me as well. So, all of you guys, if you were not able to catch the whole conversation, it will be uploaded in my YouTube page, Shafma Diaries. Please go to my YouTube page and subscribe to it. You can listen to Taskin's conversation there. And check out Taskin's Instagram page as well, Taskin Way Official. Yes, Naida, please leave a comment on the post so that the other viewers also can access. Thank you so much. Thanks, Naida.
Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you so much. Thank you, Madhya. I would love to thank you because I am honored and privileged that you chose me to be a part of this wonderful session. I think it's really important that we build a community of strong women, women who uplift each other, who are trying to, create this whole community which is always there for each other, which wants to help each other. And I think it's incredible that you're facilitating it. So thank you so, so much.